Exactly why isn't there teen media anymore? So lately, this has been a topic of conversation all over the internet as to why this generation no longer has teen idols and teen stars or tween stars. There's no more teen targeted media these days, not like back in the day. And while I've heard many takes and opinions as to why that is, there's one perspective that I haven't heard yet, and it's one that's kind of hard to ignore. But before I get into all that, hey yo, I think all the takes I've heard as to why teen media and teen idols is practically non-existent, they're all right. It's just that I feel that it severely simplifies the answer. Back in the day, teen media was the only part of entertainment that was driven by teen stars despite it being curated and gatekept by adults. I mean, think about it. Children's entertainment, like younger children's entertainment, has sort of been forefronted by adults like the Wiggles, Barney, Big Comfy Couch. So during the heyday of teen entertainment, it really was incredible to see another teenager as the lead or the star of a movie or TV show, or to be a teenager and listen to another teenager's album, to pick up a magazine and see other teenagers the same age as you on the cover, have their posters inside and have their thoughts and opinions and interviews all in there for you to identify with. Teen media really was its own ecosystem, and now for the most part, it's kind of non-existent. Yes, the landscape of media has changed with TikTok and streaming and YouTube being at the forefront and traditional media sort of becoming obsolete to the point where Disney Channel and Nickelodeon doesn't even care to cater to a dwindling to non-existent demographic. But I don't think it's as simple as saying that there isn't a market for the teen demographic. I mean, one of the takes that I've seen online is that given how popular K-pop is, the K-pop stars are essentially the teen stars that are reminiscent of the ones that we had back in the day. Now, keep the K-pop industry in mind because it's going to be relevant for what I'm about to say for the rest of the video. What if I told you that the reason that teen media doesn't exist anymore is because we all collectively came to the realization of how predatory, exploitative, and at worst abusive the market for teen media was back in the past. Let me tell you a little story about something that happened in my childhood in hopes that it helps to make what I'm about to say make a little bit more sense. I must have been in 3rd or 4th grade. I was in the backseat of my parents' car while we were out doing our usual weekend grocery store trips. Over the radio, a voice came on and loudly asked,
"Do you want to be on shows like That's a Raven? Does your kid want to be on Disney Channel? Well, come out to the casting call and get discovered."
Something to that effect. I'm really just paraphrasing. My sisters and I were ecstatic about this opportunity, and me being the enthusiastic, big dreamer of a kid who thought this was going to be my big shot to be like the famous Jet Jackson, I pestered my parents to take us. I think the following weekend or sometime during the week, I don't necessarily remember, we went to this open casting call that was really in like some banquet hall of a hotel. Every kid in Toronto had to have been there. All of them different ages, all hoping for the same thing. Fun fact, I told this story to my beautiful, amazing, incredible girlfriend, and she remembers also going to the same thing. So I kind of wonder if she and I were in the same room at the same time, but didn't know each other yet. Talk about a red string theory. A woman with the last name Knowles, no relation to Beyonce, much to our disappointment, walked in and sort of spoke to everyone in like this seminar kind of way about what it takes to be a child performer and things like that. But we weren't here to hear that. We wanted to get to the part where we get discovered and get on Disney Channel or Family Channel for us in Canada. We were all handed scripts to read. I remember mine being a Corn Pops commercial, and one by one we were called in just like any other audition, and we recited the lines in front of a panel of adults. Not long after that, we get a call at the house from informing us that they want me and my youngest sister, who might have been like 3 or 4 at the time. Although they didn't want my other sister. Middle child syndrome strikes again. But there was a catch, and this is what I came to find out and get a better understanding about it later on in life. It wasn't an agency or management for child actors. It was a performing academy, which wouldn't have been too bad hadn't they not advertised it on the radio as a child star agency search. Even if you go on their website, they explicitly say that they're not a talent agency. It's kind of funny how they choose when and where to advertise exactly what they are, but I digress. But then it got even more clear once they asked for a fee. Suddenly, my mom wasn't interested in enrolling us, and while I understand the decision, part of me was still disappointed because my Jet Jackson dreams would sort of be halted for a while. Well, why is this story relevant? Why am I telling this story when I'm talking about teen media and why it's no longer existent? The thing with this story is that it's happened to a lot of kids, probably a bunch of you watching this video. And it's an example of how much of a common practice it is for adults to sort of capitalize on the craze of child and teen stardom. I mean, the actor who plays Esteban from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody also runs a similar program, though he seems a lot more transparent about his program than how was. But the fact of the matter is, This is just a symptom of a bigger problem. Really think about it. If you grew up in the 90s and the 2000s, think back to all our teen idols from that time. Think about how being a teen star was taxing for them. How much they've had to sacrifice to entertain us. How many of them were taken advantage of by the adults around them, from the parents to the managers to producers who exploited them and profited off of them. The pressure that many of them face during a time where they're still trying to figure out who they are, if they even have the time, because this is their job. Many of them having to grow up fast because their childhood and their normalcy and even their innocence is all replaced by contractual obligations, scheduled appearances. How many of them were chewed up and spit out by the industry because they outgrew whatever value that they once had? Some of them grew to be well-adjusted adults. Some of them completely crashed out. Many of them were sold a dream, but didn't realize just how much of a price they had to pay. Now, this may all seem like such an extreme perspective, but given all the information that's readily available to us because of documentaries and books and podcast interviews, all from former child and teen stars who recontextualize their perspective in hindsight, and all the revelations that came out of that, when you think about the K-pop industry with its heavy teen fan base and its emulation of the teen media craze that existed out here, how it perpetuates the issues that I'm talking about right now in this video, suddenly it doesn't seem so extreme. And if we're really being honest and we're thinking about everything that we've been exposed to and all the information that's been available to us, maybe we all kind of came to this conclusion that this isn't a business that needs to exist if it's this demanding. I don't know. I mean, do we really want to put kids through that same situation again? Now, as it pertains to this conversation, a sentiment to feel would be that, well, we would hope that the industry sort of learns from the past and doesn't perpetuate the same problems. But given the fact that I'm the only one thus far acknowledging this as something that is worth addressing, a famous quote comes to mind: "Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it." I appreciate Jermaine Dupri coming out and saying that he wishes his 14-year-old had somebody to listen to, but as somebody who was giving us teenagers and kids stars, he needs to acknowledge that even in his day, the market for 14-year-old artists was predatory and exploitative. Exploitative? If we truly feel like we can have a healthy and non-problematic space to create teen media, then yes, I'm all for it. But if I woke up tomorrow and saw an ecosystem of 13 to 17-year-old stars geared towards other 13 and 17-year-olds, and I found that it was still perpetuating the same physically demanding, emotionally and mentally taxing, predatory, exploitative, and abusive cycle, I wouldn't want that for our kids either. Boom, that's how you do it.